reaffirm our connection to Fight with Flash here at Dave O'Hara Sports and Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara, that we are talking about the Iowa Stead Children's Family Hospital charities through Fight with Flash Foundation. So we'll see you over on the website for an extended interview with Craig and Stacy Schrader from Fight with Flash Foundation, and also Keegan Murray is going to give us some of his comments on the impact of Austin Flash Schrader on the Iowa basketball team. So Craig, Stacy, we'll see you on the web.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Back with more with Keegan Murray in just a few moments. We want to hone in on with Keegan on the impact Austin Flash Schrader has on the Iowa basketball team. So if you would for us, please. Thanks for joining us, Keegan, this last couple minutes here on the web version. Talk about your experience and or the basketball team, but the impact Austin Flash Schrader had on you guys.
Yeah, for sure. For me, Austin, he was introduced through my sister because Haley and McKenna are really good friends and they played basketball together. So I got introduced through that. But I think on our team, he has a really big impact with the McCaffreys, with Fran wearing the shoes on the court. And I just think he's been a big inspiration for us to get better each day, know that time may be limited, but we just need to make sacrifices. And I think that Austin, he's a really great human being, and he'll definitely have an effect on our Iowa basketball team.
And win the day, hashtag win the day, and well stated, Keegan. Thank you for that. Hashtag win the day. And again, Austin Schrader would have been 22 years old on Friday the 13th of August 13th. So the impact still felt far and wide to this day, and that's why we're involved as well. As Keegan just said, inspiration, as well as Craig and Stacy Schrader adding the awareness and the financial support and being a part of fightwithflash.org.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
And welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see, I've located Keegan Murray. Wow. We are very happy to have you aboard. First of all, congratulations on your new apparel line. Pop that out for us on camera. And of course, as you know, Keegan Murray, very, very productive and fantastic freshman year last year for the Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball team. And Keegan, first of all, thanks for joining us. And secondly, how's everything going with you?
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. Everything is going good. Just finished up summer workouts, just getting ready for school right now in classes. So getting ready for my second year.
I love it. Well, let's get right to it. NIL, name, image, and likeness. What are your thoughts being a player and having this affect all of our world's college sports? Give us your takeaway and how you see things moving forward, please.
No, I think NIL is really great for college sports, especially with J-Bo on my team leading the college with a lot of different players. But I think overall it's really good. My thing going into it is just create good relationships with companies. Connor and Zoark, they've been really good. Their company is for the right cause, for the right reasons. And I think what I want to do with NIL is with the money I make from it, I don't want to keep it. I want to expand on it, use it for different charities, because you can either, with NIL, you can make money and just keep it and be money hungry, or you can go and do something good with it, and that's giving money back to a charity, which me and Connor are looking forward to doing in the future.
I can't wait for that, and we're going to have more on that again. My buddy or our mutual friend Connor Weitz with Zoark, and again it's Zoark, ZOARC.co, and you can get Keegan's personal line as well as all the other lines. We had Gary Dolphin on a couple weeks ago, and Connor Weitz works with him as well, with Gary Dolphin, and he's got his apparel. But we're talking about Keegan Murray right now. But a lot of other athletes that, like yourself, Megan Gustafson, again, part of that line. So that has to help you make your decision too. We've got, and we may have a Keith Duncan sighting next week as well with his apparel line with Connor and Zoark. So you've surrounded yourself with some really good people, as have they with you.
For sure. No, definitely going into it, I just want to be around good people. And this was the perfect company to associate myself with other Iowa athletes that have been involved in the past. So I just think it's a great first leap into NIL for me.
I love it. And again, great shirts, apparel line. You got 3/4 zips, the t-shirts. Go to social media again, and you can check out zoark.co online, Connor White's, or again, Keegan Murray via social media. So Keegan, a couple of different things rumbling through here. You got a camp upcoming with some folks I know, Austin Ash, your twin brother Kris, Connor and Patrick McCaffrey. I know Sam Elgin from Formula Basketball. Again, check that out via social media. Let's talk about your camp upcoming, please.
No, our camp it's for ages up until high school, so until 8th grade. But it's on from Saturday the 28th of August and Sunday the 29th for 3 hours each day. And it's just a good experience to get Sam Elgin. He's a great skills trainer to lead the camp, and then have other input from Hawkeye basketball players. That'll help improve your game. And I think it's great for us to be involved with the younger generation because we're the people that they're looking up to. So.
Well stated. And again, I know Sam as well personally and professionally, and you're right. Great skills guy. And what the talent he has in with the 2 McCaffrey boys, the 2 Murray boys, and you mix in Austin Ash, and somebody's going to come out of there a good shooter at some point in time, I got to believe. So let's do this. Keegan, there's so much to talk with you about, but your dad, you're a legacy recruit, you and your brother, Kris, and pressure going in, one with your twin brother, did that relieve some of your pressure to have such a fantastic freshman year as you did? Having to try to live up to your dad being a 1,000-point-plus scorer at Iowa and being a legacy recruit? Talk about what in the world happened last year as you smile. You know it was a great year, so talk about those things going in about last year, if you would, please.
Yeah, no, so before I even got into workouts, my dad kind of sat down with me and my brother and just said, play your own game. Like, there's not much, like, just don't think about the pressure, don't think about me being there or whatever and his accolades there, but just go in with an open mind and do what you know how to do, and just be yourself. And going with Kris, obviously he didn't get as much playing time last year, but he was my biggest supporter on the sidelines. And when I went out of games, he'd tell me, because he has a different viewpoint from the side of the court, so he has told me different things that he saw and different ways I could improve when I was on the court.
And improve you did. I tell you, what a year again. And so I got to talk about what it was like to play with Luka Garza before Jack Nunge got hurt. You had a lot of support and a lot of upperclassmen leading you. You mentioned J-Bo, Connor McCaffrey, even CJ Frederick for that matter. You had a lot of experience around you. That had to help ease your load a little bit as well.
Yeah, for sure. Going into it, I wasn't looking to score. I was just looking to be able to make plays and be able to get those guys the ball, whether that was set screens or just get an extra rebound for them and kick it out. But I just want to do the little things for them to be able to win games, be able to for them to showcase their skills, and I think I did a pretty good job of that.
You're too humble. I'll say it for you. He did a great job of that. So let's go here. Again, so many places to go with you, but let's look at this upcoming year. Obviously, the departures of Joe Wieskamp to the NBA, Luka Garza to the NBA, CJ Frederick to transfer, Jack Nunge to transfer for obvious reasons, and wishing Jack and CJ the best. But I talked to Austin Ash about that when he was on this show this last spring about Jack Nunge and how that brought you all closer together. So speaking of closer together, now you've got some new additions with Philippe Rabracha, and you've got Riley Mulvey, other new talent coming in, big guys around your position. Yeah. How's everything looking right now? I don't want a full scouting report. We don't want to give too much away. But what are you thinking going into this year?
No, they've been really good this summer. They've only gotten better. So I think for them, it's just about learning the offense, learning the defense, and just getting more involved in the Iowa program. But this summer's been really good for us. In my improvement, I've just been working on my shot, getting that more consistent, and just building strength around my frame. So those are the two things I've been working on, and I think we'll be pretty good going into this year.
I think guard play is going to be very important because, as you mentioned, you've got to replace a big loss in Luka Garza. Yeah. What's the one thing I've got to ask? What's the one thing, Luka, that you're taking away from Luka's game, or any advice he gave you on or off the floor? Yeah. Got to know. What was the one nugget you're taking away, or a couple nuggets that you're taking away from Luka, your experience with Luka?
I think the one biggest thing I take away from him is how hard he goes every single possession. Whether if he's going for offense rebound, he's almost the first person back down the court. And I just think that hustle, getting up and down the court, and that fire that he had with every possession is something I want to instill in myself this year.
I'd say you're well on your way, my friend. Great stuff. Hey, got a few more minutes left with Keegan Murray. He is with the Iowa Hawkeyes and going into his sophomore season after a fantastic freshman year. You can see his apparel. Pop that out again for us if you would, Keegan. There you go. His apparel line was zoark.co. Again, on social media, at Keegan Murray or again at Connor Whites. We have got a lot of connections online. Again, he's got a basketball camp upcoming with our buddy Sam Elgin with Formula Basketball. A lot going on, as you can imagine, with name, image, and likeness. And you mentioned school. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, there's school. So let's do this. Let's get a little personal with you. The last couple of minutes I have with you. We've talked with Craig and Stacey Schrader each week with Fight with Flash. But we want to hone in on, with Keegan, on the impact Austin Flash Schrader has on the Iowa basketball team. So if you would for us, please. Thanks for joining us, Keegan. Talk about your experience and or the basketball team, but the impact Austin Flash Schrader had on you guys.
Yeah, for sure. For me, Austin, he was introduced through my sister because Haley and McKenna are really good friends and they played basketball together. So I got introduced through that. But I think on our team, he has a really big impact with the McCaffreys, with Fran wearing the shoes on the court. And I just think he's been a big inspiration for us to get better each day, know that time may be limited, but we just need to make sacrifices. And I think that Austin, he's a really great human being, and he'll definitely have an effect on our Iowa basketball team.
And win the day, hashtag win the day, and well stated, Keegan. Thank you for that. Hashtag win the day. And again, Austin Schrader would have been 22 years old on Friday the 13th of August 13th. So the impact still felt far and wide to this day, and that's why we're involved as well. As Keegan just said, inspiration, as well as Craig and Stacey Schrader adding the awareness and the financial support and being a part of fightwithflash.org. You had a European trip canceled that you were going to go on and play. Instead, he took a Puerto Rican vacation with his dad, Kenyon, mom, and then McKenna, your sister, who is very good friends with Haley Schrader, Craig and Stacey's daughter, who is just coming off a very successful ACL surgery, and your brother, Kris, your twin brother. So did you ever get the reptile your dad, Kenyon, kept putting on Kenyon Murray, that kept putting on social media that followed you guys around? You guys survived.
Yeah, stayed away from those as much as I could. Did not try to associate myself and no iguanas.
No, large iguanas. So let's talk about this in the last minute or so. Disappointing, obviously, you didn't get to make the European trip. Talk about who you were going to be on the team with, some fellow teammates, as well as college basketball luminary coaches you would have had experience with. And I talked to Jeff Horner about this, former Hawkeye great, how tough that is to miss that opportunity. But again, you had the family vacation. But talk about that European trip that was canceled, if you would, briefly for us.
Yeah, no, Jim Boeheim, he was going to be my coach. So that would have been a great experience in itself. But other than that, I just had a lot of great players I would associate myself with, whether that was on Patrick's team or my team. There's a lot of great college players that were there. So
it was going to be you and Patrick and Connor McCaffrey, right?
Me, Kris, and Patrick.
Chris,
and then Patrick was on another team. Me and Kris were on another team. So
wow. Yeah, and Krzyzewski was maybe one of the coaches with another team, and Jim Boeheim, as you mentioned, and Buddy Boeheim, his son, playing. So what might have been. You were going to get it back. I do want to say this, though, in closing. You got to be excited for fans coming back.
Oh, for sure. No, that's a huge thing. I can't wait to see Carver Field, for sure.
Look at the grin on that face. We love you, fans. That's for sure. So I got to tell you, Keegan, it's been great talking to you. I look forward to talking to you in the future again with that apparel line for Keegan Murray. Go to Zoark, Zoarc, zoark.co. My friend, thank you so much. All the best. Good luck this year.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you. For Keegan Murray, I'm Dave O'Hara. We'll be back with more Hawkeyed.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing a book on it? Mershman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Here they are. What a group of people I've got. Kris Murray, Craig and Stacey Schrader from Fight with Flash Foundation. First of all three of you, thanks for joining us. And Craig and Stacey, I know everything's going great with you. Kris, how's everything going with you, my man?
It's going well. Halfway through the season, feeling pretty good about our team and the accomplishments that we want to make this year. So
I think you're well on your way. Well, the good news is, folks, as you know, we've had Keegan Chris's brother. And I'm going to ask, who's older, by the way? Who's the older brother of you two twins?
Yeah, I have bragging rights on that. I'm older by about a minute.
Perfect. So it doesn't matter. You're still the older brother. Big brother Chris, then. We can say that officially. But we had Keegan on, and we're going to rerun that show in a couple of weeks, and we're going to do a couple different segments with Chris and run them throughout. So welcome aboard, viewers. Again, got a great show. And Chris, we want to find out a little bit about what you're doing now with my good buddy Connor Whites from Zoark Apparel. And you can see I've got the Zoark jacket on today. I've got Chris's little brother Keegan's shirt on. So we've got a nice apparel line. And I want Craig and Stacy to talk a little bit about your association with the Schrader family, Austin Flash Schrader. Craig and your dad, Kenyon, coached against each other when you and Keegan were little ones. And your sister, their daughter are great friends. A lot of connections here. But I want to tip my cap to you right away, first of all, for joining us and just being such a stand-up guy. Viewers, I want you to know, the day of the Wisconsin game last week, I texted Chris as he's smiling, and we all know pregame guys are looking for stuff to occupy themselves, and Chris was great to respond all the time about coordinating this interview. So first of all, thanks for that, but I think the work you're doing with our buddy Connor Whites and Zoark and donating a large percentage of your apparel line to the Special Olympics. Your brother Keegan donated a lot of his share to the Children's Hospital, University of Iowa Stead family. But that, to me, as Craig and I talked about Tyler Linderbaum a couple weeks ago, Craig and Stacy and I, how great it is that you're using the name, image, and likeness to such a great benefit. Talk about that, if you would, please.
Yeah, I'm grateful Connor gave me the opportunity to be able to give back to my community.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. There he is.
Murray.
He's still here.
Didn't leave.
So that's the difference right there. Your mom told me I could tell you and Keegan apart. You're the funnier of the two, right?
Yeah, I've been getting that. I don't know how, but I guess I'm pretty good at one-liners, what the team says. So
I like that. You got one in past me, for crying out loud. So, yeah, you are good at that. But, yeah, Kris Murray, Iowa Hawkeye basketball player, older brother, we found out in the previous segment, by 1 minute. So you're the bigger, older brother to Keegan. Yeah. I like that. Very good. Well, let's do this. Let's get into this year's basketball team. It was great talking with you and Craig and Stacy Schrader in the previous segment about your connection to Fight with Flash Foundation, knowing Austin Flash Schrader. But I want to mention again a thanks to our good buddy Connor Whites from Zoark and your apparel line. And this is your brother's apparel line. So Keegan is taking some of his proceeds and for name, image, and likeness with Zoark and going to the Iowa Stead University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. Yours is going to the Special Olympics. But as Craig and Stacy and I and you were talking about in a previous segment, very commendable by you to be that way and do that with your good works. So let's get into the Iowa basketball team this year. My goodness, we're recording this coming up before the Indiana game on Tuesday afternoon. And by the way, he's going to be recording a segment, Chris is, for the Journey Part 2 with the Big Ten Network today. So we got to get you out the door. All types of interview stuff going on. But let's talk about this year's team. And boy, tough loss without your brother Keegan at Purdue. You had Illinois beat at Carver and let that one get away. You did beat Maryland, lost a tough one to Wisconsin last week. Nice pre-conference season. But talk to us a little bit about how things are going this year, how you feel things are going. I love listening to guys like Jess Settles, Big Ten Network analyst, was on this show last week, played with your dad, Kenyon, knows your dad very well. You're a legacy recruit like Keegan is. And it's interesting to hear. And Jeff Horner, when he recruited you guys, he's at Truman State Division II, and he said, oh, Dave, these guys I knew were beyond Division II, but not a lot of love out of high school. Western Illinois was the only real D1 program. You guys went to prep school for a year. But the one thing, I love the national media now saying, oh, these guys can shoot. And you were telling Craig and Stacy Schrader how you and Keegan could always shoot, but Jeff Horner and Jess Settles both said, oh, Dave, the Murray boys can shoot. So let's talk about all that this season, but the national perception. I love all these Johnny-come-latelys now that, oh, Keegan and Kris are pretty good, as you're chuckling. Isn't that amazing to hear that now?
Yeah, it is. Just from where we were a couple of years ago, it's hard to believe that, especially Keegan to this point, getting the national recognition that he's getting is really cool. But team this year, we've had a couple games we let slip away. At Purdue, we feel like we had them right where we wanted them. Down 2 with 2 minutes left, just let that slip away. Illinois, it came down to rebounding, something that we're going to be working on a lot just to get better at this next couple games and really put an emphasis on it. And I think kind of back to the being able to shoot thing with Jess Sells and Jeff Horner. We've been able to shoot our whole lives because we, 8th grade to about my sophomore year, we were always undersized. So I mean, that's one thing that kind of helped us separate ourselves. And we kind of thought we were going to be point guards after our sophomore year because we weren't growing. We were like 6 foot, 140 pounds. It was really small kids. But yeah, I'm glad to see that both of us are shooting the ball really well this year. I think that's something that we've had our whole lives, and it's just kind of working on other parts of our game.
See, there it is, viewers. It finally came out. Every post player or forward wants to be a guard. There you go. Even when you were little, you had that in your mind. But I got to tell you, Kris, when I see that, and your left-handed stroke, and Keegan's got this nice right hand, your mom told me, now if this is true or not, we're going to bring up the golf game in the next segment, so you can think about that. Oh, see, right there, you saw his reaction. We'll save that for the next segment. But am I right when your mom told me that Keegan does everything left-handed like you do except shoot a basketball? She said your dad taught him to differentiate you two. He shot right. Is that true? He does everything else left but shoots right?
Yeah, that's true. Like everything, golfing, bowling, hitting a baseball, like everything. I'm not sure why my dad did that to differentiate us, but I mean, people still have trouble like figuring out who's who on the court. So I mean, I guess it still works. But yeah, he just let me do my thing and help Keegan develop a right hand, which is kind of unique because he does everything else left-handed.
I must tell you, watching you guys on the court together, it was the Wisconsin game where you were getting taken out. And I hate to bring this up because you made some great shots. You had a great game against Wisconsin. You personally and team, you were hanging around for a while, but you had a turnover. And I loved watching you two walk off the court. And Ever, the brothers, he looked at you and he said, bounce pass. And so Fran was also talking to you, but I like to see that you two are each other's cheerleaders. And, Keegan has talked about this last year, especially when he was getting the lion's share of the minutes with Luka Garza, Joe Wieskamp, and that team. But now this year with you playing, I love to see the camaraderie. Obviously, your brothers are going to have that support system, but you still kind of get after each other a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, he gets after me a lot, especially this year since I'm playing a lot more. But yeah, we've always had that kind of dynamic where we want to help each other out, and that was kind of my role last year to him, was doing that. And I think this year, me being on the court a lot more, I can still help him do that. And I think he's doing a good job this year as well, just kind of being able to help me out, especially since it's my first year getting pretty good minutes. So
yeah, let's go there with Joe Wieskamp being gone in the NBA now, Luka Garza, NBA, Jordan Bohannon, Grandpa Jordan, as you guys joke, is back. So you've got some good leadership. You from last year, also Keegan, but Austin Ash, a mutual friend of ours and the families. But it's interesting to see, and I notice Austin does a lot of coaching, from the bench. He can see things when he's not playing, kind of like you did with Keegan last year. Talk to me about that dynamic a little bit, how some of the returning guys, Joe, Toussaint, who is still faster with a basketball than most people are without, true?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
But yeah, you've got a lot of experience, and Patrick McCaffrey, for that matter, and Connor, great leadership. Talk about that from last year to this year, what's carried over. But my goodness, you guys get that ball off the backboard and off you go. So it's fun to watch. As you mentioned, you got to work on some defense and rebounding. But talk about that, if you would, please, as a player, getting more minutes now, but as a bench player, seeing all that with Wieskamp, Garza, Bohannon, the McCaffreys, and now where you're into playing and taking that advice from them from the last couple of years.
Yeah, last year we had great vocal leaders. We also had leaders who led through their game. And I think that's kind of what you want on a team. That can be special. And especially this year too, with those guys all leaving, we have great vocal leaders in our locker room. And after every loss, like, none of us hang our heads. It's positive. It's just trying to get better the next day. And Connor, Jabo, are great vocal leaders for us, and Keegan does it. He's vocal sometimes, but he does it a lot through his play and encouraging others. So yeah, our leadership in the locker room is doing pretty good.
Yeah, you guys, to say the least. But let's wrap up with this, and we'll get to other things in the next segment. But I really want to talk about that, if you would. Where you go from here, being a legacy recruit, your dad playing at Iowa. We mentioned the Jeff Horners and the Jess Settles and all the coaching you had over your life from your dad. Was there added pressure to say, okay, we got to go to Iowa, we got to go to prep school, we got to get it right, we have to go to Iowa? Or you were happy, as you mentioned, doing your own thing? Did you and Keegan kind of get together and say, yeah, we want to stay together? How'd this all play out? What brought both of you here?
Yeah, honestly, coming out of high school, I didn't think that I'd go to Iowa. I was kind of getting some looks from D2s, not really D1s at all. So prep school was the option. Even going to prep school, I didn't think that I'd end up at Iowa, but I mean, here I am. A lot of schools were looking at us, and when we came to visit, believe it or not, like, I haven't really been in Iowa City all that much.
Wow, yeah.
Been in North Liberty a ton, Iowa City really not really. So haven't been on the campus at all. So it was kind of pretty new to me, honestly. And I fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the culture there, and it was a great fit with Keegan and I and Coach Fran.
That really has been. And boy, I tell you, from Cedar Rapids Prairie High School to go to Florida and then back to Iowa for the win. Thanks to Keegan Murray, Craig and Stacy Schrader, and to you for viewing and tuning in. That's all for me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeyed. Thanks to all of you.